Oh, he brings his traditional golden retriever energy of a man who's super attractive yet down to earth to the point that you be like, yeah, you should be dating a billionaire, and maybe she's not good enough for you.
Oh my God, it's iconic.
He's a pretty amazing gentleman. I'd have to say there's certainly, someone from a certain background of, from being sports and football, and you're like, oh, is he going to be able to host? Is he going to be witty? You meet some athletes who their whole focus has been athletics and not reading and not doing anything else. And Travis was, he's a champion. And I think that's what you see in him in all regards. Like, he puts in the work ethic, he puts in everything he needs to do to be good. And I would say, and I don't think he'd have a problem saying this, that in the beginning, just like anyone trying something new, he wasn't as confident in himself about it. And he would go, and you saw him leave for the weekend, and he must have been putting on the tape. He must have been studying. He must have been putting in work, because he came back that next day and he was just like he'd been hosting for years. And it was very impressive.
He really blew us away. And, as someone who's not really, I didn't even know what he looked like. Like, I knew he was Taylor Swift's wife, but like, I really am not a football person. And I knew he was famous from that, but I kind of have this natural, feel like they're like my natural enemies, football players. So I'm always afraid of them. They're these big guys. I used to get into fights with them in high school. So I'm like always scared of them. And he was just so good natured. And you could tell he loved comedy. And he was just like, he didn't think he was better than any of us. I just feel like he really wanted to fit in and really kind of did fit in. And it was cool. And it's cool for him, because this is probably a whole new, you can't be a football player forever, right?
Oh, there are certainly some Taylor Swift fans. There's some subtle jabs and jokes and references towards him to see if we can get him to fully commit or not. And we certainly were jabbing him. We may have or may not. I heard whispers that she came by. I did not see her, but I heard whispers.
Oh.
Also, Nikki Glazer, who was on the show, is probably one of the biggest Swifties. So she was like, I think she was incredibly like nervous, and just to be in the presence of him.
Yeah, there are a few jokes, but I think like with any, he just kind of took them and gave us some back, and he was really good. One of my favorite things I actually saw, and I won't want to use it as a spoiler, but occasionally some people tried to hit on him, and the actual him shutting that down.
Ooh,
it was really
did shut
sweet
that
and
down.
really really nice to see. Like he you can tell that he's in it with her. Yeah, I mean, for me, I think the only thing I told him was that we're in his home, that he's not a guest here, that we are in his place, and to act like that he owns this place and that we are here with him. And he really did that, I believe, and showed himself to be like, this is my show. I'm doing this. I'm not like, Jeff Foxworthy's replacement. This is my show. And you can see that a lot of him. And I think one thing I did notice, I don't think you told, but was just that we had a bunch of comedians on there, so he didn't really need to joke it up, that we were going to be there for him and to rely on us, that if he did a bad joke, that we would make it funny, either by making fun of him or doing something to lift him back up. And I think once he understood that, like, we weren't just there to help the contestants, we were also there to help him, that it kind of became this great team.
Yeah, and I think we were all, I was pretty impressed with how well he was doing. And I think just in the breaks telling him how funny it was, I think that really, like, you could see he was starting to really feel himself. So